Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Test Chamber. I'm your host, Andrew Reiner. Today, we're looking at Madden NFL 13. I have our two football experts for Game Informer in here today. I have Matthew Kato.
Hello.
And Matt Bertz.
Skull Vikings.
We're going to be playing a game here between the Jets, who are supposed to be pretty good this year, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the miserable Vikings, who are not going to be very good, but I'm predicting they're going 10-6. They're going to shock the world.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even. I think it's gonna be a 5-win to 3-win season.
What about you, Bertz?
Oh, yeah, 3 wins max.
Whoa, who is that?
That's Rex Ryan. He's the most entertaining coach in the NFL.
Have a hard-hitting game. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
And you got Kevin Love on the Vikings?
I think it might be his second cousin.
And Kato, you reviewed the game for us. Last year, you gave the game, it was in the 7s, like a 7-5, I believe. Series seemed like it was going the wrong way. Your review this year, your headline was turning the corner. It seems like it did a lot better. You gave it an 8.25. What made this year's game kind of a leap forward?
Well, I think they did a lot of work in a lot of different areas of the game. The passing game is a lot better. You can pass to a lot more areas of the field, so you just feel more confidence as a QB. And then, for the franchise mode, they basically, for the online franchise, now it has a whole host of features. It's all the same as the offline franchise. So it's just, in all areas, they did a lot of work. And that doesn't necessarily mean that all those areas, pay off. They've struck gold in every single area, but they've done all the work, and that's why I think, they got a pretty good base for the future.
Yeah, this might be one of the first years where they can actually keep their feature sets and, build off it as opposed to rewriting it every time.
All right, I'm taking back my 10-6.
Oh, that's what happens when you draft Notre Dame safeties, man.
I'm going with 1-15.
Keller, that was a pretty
1-15.
All right.
You just shredded that secondary.
That was Tim Tebow.
That doesn't put you in a positive frame of mind.
That's funny because they showed Mark Sanchez in the warm-up and the little pregame there.
Has Tebow ever thrown a pass that accurate?
Maybe once or twice, but not consistently.
Not a good start here, Kato.
It's okay.
Why do they keep showing the roof?
Because it might collapse at any moment. They're looking at it. Is it buckling? Is it moving?
Catastrophe watch.
Yeah.
Make sure we always have 2 cameras on that roof. We don't want to miss this.
In this one, the Jets are leading by 7.
1 play, 1 score.
Handshake cam.
So you see they do some cool presentation stuff that looks like, a shot you would see in real NFL games, but you might see in a little bit, they also do these really weird extreme close-ups that don't really make a lot of sense for presentation because it'll show you something weird like how the ball warps into hands.
Yeah, like a handoff where the exchange between the QB and the running back shows that the ball's not always securely in there.
Is that part of that new Infinity animation engine?
I'm not sure. I'm sure it's probably a result of some of the overall work they've got to do and everything. How players interact. As you can see right there. Speaking of the Infinity engine, it can be a little easy to get caught up on some of your guys. Sometimes guys kind of flex and bend a little funny. You will see some pretty good hits, some pretty big hits, stuff that's kind of accurate and kind of cool looking, like if a guy gets hit, say high-low or something like that. But there at times does tend to be some unrealistic things that go on.
Yeah, it looked like your guy did the splits.
Uh-oh.
Wow, this is not starting well at all.
But those weird physics niggles, that's par for the course with all sports. Sports games have completely, very intricate kind of animations, and it's the toughest games I think that you kind of build physics for. And bullet drop is one thing that you don't notice it, but you notice it when a guy gets blocked weirdly or goes down weirdly. So FIFA had weird first go with it. There was all those great videos that we put on our Glitchy Award thing last year. Yeah, NHL had some, and I think it's natural that they're going to have some of that in this year's version. But overall, I think it helps the game a little bit.
It's got to be such a difficult job when you have so many different characters on the field at once, trying to make sure they're all moving the right way, they're actually doing the plays right, and they're interacting together. There's so many variables that can happen there with just one character walking in front of another one. Would you say this is the best they've ever had animations working together, or is it kind of a step back?
Well, you're going to see a lot of some of the things that you've seen before, like the suction blocking, just some, I think, unrealistic, physics momentum, some predetermined outcomes and stuff, some things you could tell where a guy's already sort of maybe bracing for a tackle, or again, with the suction blocking where he's already sort of anticipating being blocked before there's contact made. So, it's not like a disaster. It's not like it feels like they're starting, like totally square one, but it's just, like as Bertz said, it is sort of the beginning in the sense that they're, it's going to be a little bit of growing pains and stuff, but I think it'll get better.
3-step drop. Zeroed in on
And you also notice
play.
there's commentators who actually sound like real commentators this
What was the
year.
year where they had just the stadium announcers? Was that
That
this
was,
generation?
Yeah, the first game of this generation. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah, that was a disaster. Like, I guess maybe that's the worst it's been.
That's the worst Madden game I think that's ever been made.
first down.
And how are the player ratings? Obviously, Adrian Peterson, one of the best running backs in football history, but he's coming off an injury. Do they factor that in, or is it more of a legacy rating for him?
I think it's kind of a legacy rating. I think, if you want to do, there'll probably be some online updates and stuff like that if you want to get, your roster sorted out a certain way. But, I think some of it is a little bit legacy. Hope I can peel this off.
Nice.
But the Madden team's really good at updating the rosters. They do it every week. Some of the sports games they wait forever, but they've always been really good about it. So we'll see. If Peterson doesn't play until week 2, he probably won't be on that roster for that week 1 game.
Yeah, I heard he went from being like one of the number 1 ranked running backs for fantasy football to like number 14 this year is where people are kind of slotting him.
Yeah, knee injuries aren't easy to overcome in 1 year.
The play to the receivers by giving
Oh,
no.
when you're going against a good quarterback.
So are these the scrub referees or are these the real referees?
It depends. I guess depends if the calls are going for or against you.
You against him.
And what are they doing outside of the game itself? Anything new in the front end?
With Connected Careers in particular, you're going to see there's a news feed. Connected Careers being like kind of what replaces franchise mode. And you're going to have a news feed there, which is going to tell you all kinds of stuff from what's going on in the season to what's going on with draft picks. And it's kind of...
It's my favorite new feature, I think.
Yeah, because there's stories in there. There's little tweets from real-life media members, so it kind of gives a little flavor of, what you're doing, what your opponents are doing and stuff. And it brings a little bit more, I guess, interest, because you know what a franchise mode is.
Right.
You draft people and all that kind of stuff. It's all been pretty the same. So this is good that way.
And it keeps you up to date on what's going on in the league, so you know which teams are kind of rising, which teams are hit by bad injuries. And one of the cool things is they'll do rookie reports on guys. They'll update the story about him over the course of the game, or over the course of the season. So maybe he had 15 tackles and he looks like this unstoppable force in the first week, but then 4 weeks later he gets kicked out of school, and then you're like, oh well, now I don't even know where I should if I should take a chance and draft this guy or what's going on with him. So
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds really cool. And then on my ride into work this morning, I was listening to ESPN radio, and they had Joe Montana on talking about Madden, about Legends mode. He sounded really high on it. That was like the selling point because
so
he's
one
in
of the
it.
guys that's in the game is really high on it. Just
Yeah,
like he
exactly.
was high in Connect.
So what
at
is
the
that?
E3.
Is it kind of like the NBA Michael Jordan experience?
Absolutely not. That's the problem, I think. There's this rich, untapped vein of history that sports games could totally, get into, but they don't. The NBA game did it right. You put players from their era on the same teams, and the way they do it here is it's very much like NHL, where like, oh, here's a sweet old guy, you can play with him in a contemporary setting.
Yeah, so you could start your
And that's
career.
been around forever in baseball games. And
Yeah. You would start your career as sort of like a dumbed down version of Barry Sanders, where it's like, you can be Barry Sanders, but you can put him on any team, so it's not, it's just not as fun.
I would so much rather play historical rosters against one another, like who would win in a matchup between the 49ers of the 80s and, the Patriots of the 2000s, like that would get me excited. But
And just the situational stuff too, like they did in the NBA one, where you're playing out specific moments in a player's career. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And if they could date the graphics, kind of bring back the old unis and
Exactly.
stadiums.
Of course, with the NFL's and EA's licensing problems, we probably won't be seeing that anytime soon unless they pay a whole bunch of people a whole lot of money all at once. But that's a lawsuit for another time.
So Sanchez is in the game again now.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
exactly
so.
what they're saying they're going to do is switch up the quarterbacks, right?
I guess so.
The other play that Tebow was in, it didn't seem to be any kind of remarkable play or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't like a wildcat play.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, the animations look a lot better than last year. All right, Kato.
All in one play.
We're not going to give you a chance to take the lead, but let's see if you can score on this drive.
Well, it'll be like a cooking show where it's like I put the thing in the oven, then we time lapse. So basically, readers, I did win, even if you didn't actually see it.
Reaches in, and that pass is incomplete.
I think that's the hardest pass a defensive back.
And are they doing anything new with online leagues or just competitive stuff?
Well, I think the main thing is that if you want to have an online league, you can have it with a full league of full teams, and you get to draft, scout, do all the things that you did in an offline career mode. You get to do it now for online. So that's the real benefit of Connected Careers, is that it lets online players do all the things that they've been previously doing offline. The online franchise in the previous years has just been an absolute joke. So it's a huge upgrade for them.
Yeah, and they have the Ultimate Team still, which is a lot of fun. You get the packs of cards, you build your team, you earn points that you can reinvest in new packs of cards, so you get new players.
The defense looking for one
All right, Kato.
stop here on third down after that run.
You don't make this, you know what play you got to bring out.
All the way. Finds his
I was hoping for fake punt pass.
On first down.
No, it was third down there, so if he didn't make it. I am so bad at these games that I never like playing defense, so I always want to just keep going for it. I'll be on my own 30 and I'll do fake punt pass.
You can super sim through defense now.
There's the
They
ugliest
introduced
stadium.
that a couple years ago. Yeah, the worst stadium in football.
And the Vikings are getting a new stadium in a few years. Do they have that in here?
No, they don't even have the drawing of it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Kato, we brought this up in the NCAA game. Players with the long hair, can you pull them down by the hair in this yet?
No, you can't. It's just for show, just for pretty boy show. So
It's too bad. I would love to tackle all those guys by their hair.
That would be amazing.
Following that huge play. He's looking to the right here.
That looks like Christian Ponder.
Inaccurate with that one.
So he's the future, though, for the Vikings, right? Like, he's supposed to be the golden boy?
until that future is perhaps changed or that direction is altered, yes. But for the time being, he's what we've got.
And who are you guys predicting? You're not predicting the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl. Do you have any picks yet, or is it too early to say?
I think it's always foolish to do Super Bowl predictions myself, at least this early. But I mean, there you go. You got to think that the Niners got to be up there. The Patriots are always going to be in contention. I mean, the Giants. We can't disrespect the Giants. They're a team that just goes out and wins Super Bowls, even though nobody expects them to, or cares about it. But
I'm going with the Browns. They have Brad Childress as their offensive coordinator now, so the kick-ass offense is rolling into Cleveland.
So 12-man in the huddle.
Yep.
Put him out of range.
Maybe
Hail Mary, touchdown.
Maybe he'll coax Brett Favre out of retirement. There's still a week for him to do that, right?
We don't need to see this.
I'm going with the Dolphins. That's my pick for the Super Bowl. Nobody's going to see him coming.
You're watching all that Hard Knocks and just getting inspired. And
yeah, man.
They really got it together, and
really emotional team, firing people on camera.
And trading. This week we'll get to see the trade of Vontae Davis, their cornerback.
Do you think the NFL is just putting some of this together? Like they never really wanted to have a certain player on the team. They just wanted to have that moment where they fire him on camera?
Nah.
Well, I don't think they ever wanted the Dolphins to be doing this. So they're kind of getting what they're getting because the Dolphins are not a well-run team. So they're seeing the whole thing transpire before their eyes. So that one right there with Infinity Agent, that hit there on the top looks nice.
Yep.
But some of the momentum with the running back and the
let's
initial
see from this
contact,
angle.
maybe just it's something about it just doesn't feel right, you know?
Yeah, they stop. I call it dead leg syndrome. It seems like the runners stop moving their legs when they get hit.
And they're kind of sliding too, like on the terrain, like they're not really planted. Well, I don't think we need to see any more. Best of luck next time, Kato, in putting some points on the board here. Thank you,
Plenty of
Bertz.
time, plenty of
Thank you,
time.
Kato. Thank you, Jason, our producer. We'll see you next time on Test Chamber.